McKeely.
Right, McKeely. Okay. We are recording this session for parent request. She's recording also. This is regarding McKeely Smith, 7th grader at Christa McAuliffe Middle School, regarding attendance. Paula Calderon is also here with the parent and myself regarding McKeely's attendance at Delta Sierra.
At Christa McAuliffe.
Christa McAuliffe, excuse me, thank you. Yeah, well, mainly what we're here for is that we've been advised by the school that McKeely's been absent, and Paula can review maybe the...
She's absent 3 or more days, so normally what we do, we make a home visit to find out why the child's not in school.
Well, she's not in school this week or this past week. There were several times in this year that she wasn't at school due to Cherie Pruitt, which is one of the staffers there. But for the most part, she was absent for a doctor's visit. She's got braces, so we go see the doctor. But other than that, these most recent absences is because she's terrified. She's absolutely terrified of Cherie Pruitt. Last year, in 2013, maybe November, December, I received an email from one of my daughter's teachers. And the teacher informed me that he had received an email from Cherie Pruitt. Mm-hmm. And you know who Cherie Pruitt is. She's some sort of grounds person. Mm-hmm. And
he received an email from...
He received an email from her, from Cherie Pruitt. And Cherie Pruitt told him that she was just informing him that McKeely didn't ride the bus. And that she noticed that she was late every morning, and she asked her why was she late that particular morning, and McKeely says, "Oh, I had to do a Starbucks run." Well, I am a senior portfolio manager, and one of the perks that we got from a recent convention at that time was a Starbucks card. Mm-hmm. I don't like Starbucks. My daughter was just being a typical 13-year-old because Starbucks is the trend. Mm-hmm. And when she made that statement, because this person is not a teacher, she's just one of those grounds people. She had just went to a orthodontist visit that morning. So here's my biggest concern. The school doesn't allow the students inside until the bell rings at 8:50. I've never seen this before. I have a son in college on a full academic scholarship. I have another son who has just recently signed a letter of intent for a full athletic scholarship to college. In all my 20 years of parenting, I have never seen the students be forced to sit outside, rain, sleet, or snow, until 8:50. So I asked why the kids couldn't go to class. So this was last year what I told Mr. Melandro. I'm giving you guys several different scenarios that lead up to what's going on. And I said, he said, well, that's just how it is. That's just how things are here. And I said, well, I don't think it's safe. Because anybody could come up out there. All those kids are sitting ducks. There's 900 or more kids that have to sit out there in that circle and wait until 8:50 to be let in. Some of those kids come as early as when I'm dropping my other son off in high school. They're out there at 7:15.
Now, you're talking about the area between the multipurpose room and the administration building?
Right.
Okay.
That circle there. Okay. So, but anyway, that particular morning, my daughter said that to Cherie Pruitt and went on to class. And I don't usually go in. I call Jennifer and I say, hey, McKeely had a doctor's appointment. Mm-hmm. She's coming in. She said, okay, fine, send her in. I'll give her an excuse to class. Okay. So she ran into Cherie Pruitt, and that's what she said. So she sent that email to that teacher. Mm-hmm. So I said to Mr. Melandro, I said to Mr. Melandro, she needs to mind her business. She doesn't know that, number one, I've got concern about my daughter being, standing up there. She's never going to do that. She's never going to stand out there like a sitting duck, waiting until 8:50 for the bell to ring. That's number one. But number two, she sees me drop my daughter off every day, so she knows that she's not doing anything. Plus, she's not that type of child. Number three, never had a problem with her. Number four, her email is inappropriate. That's not her job. So she responded, because I included her in the email, and said it's her job to make sure kids aren't hiding behind buses, hiding behind cars, so that they can be, I guess, walking around without being in class. And by this time, we've been here, 6 months. Long enough now at this point. Well, July to November, December, whenever that happened. I said, we've been here long enough to know now that you see me drop her off every day. We've had conversations. We agree on a lot of things. The inappropriate way the girls are allowed to dress. The district or whoever it was took out of their hands, them being able to pull the girls aside to say, you're going to have to put a shirt on or you're going to have to call your parent. We agree on a lot of things. So I said, that my daughter isn't going to be at the school hiding behind a bus or all this stuff. You see me drop her off every day. You need to mind your business. And Mr. Belandro must have told her to mind her business, because ever since that day, and I have the email, she's been rolling her eyes at my daughter, glaring, this thing that the kids call mean mugging. And I thought that was inappropriate. So what do? I send an email to Mr. Melandro. I tell him, Cherie Pruitt is glaring at my daughter. She's looking at my daughter like she hates her or like she wants to do something to her. This is making my daughter uncomfortable. So, I also told him that she's burning a hole out in the front of the school, gossiping every day, or she's sitting in the office at the desk gossiping every day. And I know this because almost every day I was bringing my daughter her lunch, or she would forget her shoes. Being a senior portfolio manager, I get to work from home a lot. That's how I've raised my children. I am the liaison between wealthy business owners who want to invest money into tax credit, HUD, home, bond properties, as well as SROs. SROs are single resident occupancy units, primarily in San Francisco. So I can come if she needs me to bring a pair of shoes to the school. I can come if she needs me to bring her lunch because she forgot it, so on and so forth. So I'm there almost every day. This has never been a problem in the past, me to come up there and say hi to the office staff, give my daughter her lunch, give her a kiss, see how her day is going, and then I'm on my way. Okay? So the woman says in the email that it's her job to check and do all this other stuff. Miss Pruitt. She says that. So I said to Mr. Melandro, I don't care if she burns a hole in the ground. I don't want her rolling her eyes at my daughter because I've made a complaint against her. That didn't stop her from doing it. She continued to do it. In February, I came up to the school. My son went to state for wrestling. He's been to state several times. He's a state champion from another state. So that day he had, I believe it was sectionals in Elk Grove. So I needed to come up there to see if my daughter wanted to go with me, because if you've seen a wrestling, if you've been a part of it, it's an all-day thing. Right. You don't leave until 8, 9 o'clock at night in some instances.
I was principal of Bear Creek High School, so I'm well familiar with the wrestling.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So I went to see if she was going to go with me or if she was just going to stay at ASB, and I was going to try to get back before 6 o'clock to pick her up. And she told, on my way, I parked in the parking circle. This was around like February 21st. Parked in the parking circle, where you drop off and pick up. Right. Miss Herfel, who is my daughter's reading and language arts teacher, was on her way in. So she beat me into school by 2 minutes. I got out of the parking circle, stood on the sidewalk adjacent to parking. If this is the parking circle, I'm on the sidewalk here next to the B that's on that building with the cafeteria multipurpose room. Looked out onto the basketball court. This was the time. At this time, my daughter was in PE. After PE, she goes to lunch. So her friends were on the basketball court. So they say to me, "Are you looking for McKeely?" And I say, "Yeah." And they say, "She's in the multipurpose room." Okay. So that first door to the black iron gates was closed. I went through the second door which is in front of the office. Okay. When I entered that gate, Miss Pruitt comes out swinging the door open. "I was told you were on the school grounds without a visitor," screaming at me. I mean, just belligerent, arms flailing. You can see it on the video. I saw the video. I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I just left the parking circle. I stood on the sidewalk." I said, "And then I came in." What are you talking about? You need to get a visitor's pass when you're in the school ground. I said, I wasn't on the school grounds unless you're talking about from the parking circle to the sidewalk. I said, if that's the case, somebody needs to stand out here and give me a pass to stand out here until I can make it into the office. So then, I walked past her. She's still yelling, screaming behind me. I wrote the time down, and I want to make sure that you guys have that because I want you to review that tape. Mm-hmm. I reviewed it with the first interim principal after Mr. Melandro didn't come back for the new year. Mr. Takamoto. I reviewed that tape with him, and you can see her arms flailing, her body language, she's screaming. So when she's screaming behind me, I turned around to her and I said, you better get out of my face. I turned back around and went to the counter to ask them to retrieve my child. Mm-hmm. Mr. Bray called over there and said, Mr. Rector, could you have McKeely come to the office? 5 or 10 minutes or so passed. Mr. Rector didn't send her, so Mr. Bray went over and got her. But before this, when I turned around and went to the counter, you could see her, are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? She goes in the office, through the door into the office, and says she's going to call the police. So I asked for the principal. I said, this is ridiculous. I'm being berated by this woman. And she said, I'm no woman. She starts calling me names. I said, oh, okay, really? Kids are in there. They hear all this stuff. Then I didn't leave. After I spoke with my daughter, I spoke with Mr. Ivy, and I showed him where I was, and I waited for the police. Officer Gonzalez came, who is the uniformed officer at Bear Creek. Okay, and I was sitting in the car by this time because I just didn't even want to deal with the woman. Were you there to pick up McKeely? No, I didn't pick her up. I just told her, found out if she wanted to go. She didn't, so she went back to the multipurpose room. Okay. Yeah, she didn't stay for the melee. So I waited in the car, and when the officer came, I said, Officer Gonzalez, can I talk to you for a minute? She says, are you the one causing trouble? I said, excuse me? Then I told her, like I've told you guys, what happened last year, the glaring at my daughter, how she's been angry about it ever since then. And then I told her what I had done that day and, what happened when I came in and all of the tomfoolery from this woman. So she says, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk with them. And she comes back out about 20 minutes later. By this time, I'm sitting in the office, not behind the door, but, where the chairs are in the front. She comes out, she says, Miss Pruitt says that you threatened her, and she said, "Who's telling you this?" Officer Gonzalez. Officer Gonzalez. Okay. She says, Miss Pruitt says you threatened her, and she says that you were on school grounds without a visitor's pass, and she says that you said you were going to have someone come to the school with a gun. And I said, that is ridiculous. She said, well, during the meeting, you said this is when you supposedly said this, and so I asked for Mr. Takamoto. I said, Mr. Takamoto, I'm the school site council president, by the way. I know my glamorous appearance doesn't suggest that I have 2 college degrees, but I do. And they asked if I wanted the position, and so I accepted it. During the school site council meeting, I brought up again, this was, about 3 weeks prior to her blow up on that February day. In that meeting was myself, the interim principal, Mr. Takamoto, the assistant principal, Mr. Howard, 3 teachers, a male teacher, this big guy with the beard and stuff, really big guy, Miss Herfel. Did you request this conference, or why was this conference held? The school site council meeting? Oh, they're monthly. They're monthly, yeah. No, I thought you were in another meeting. I'm sorry. No, the school site council meeting is, where we discuss the budget and what plans we have and different things that we're bringing to the school. Like we discuss Common Core, we discuss new iPads that are coming, all that kind of stuff. How much money we have, what the teachers that go to training courses, they'll come back and report to us. I'm familiar with this. Well, just in case you aren't.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So during that meeting, we discussed safety procedures. We discussed different types of bells that would ring to notify the teachers to get the kids to safety. And I thought, they said they were going to do it in one day. And I thought that was a bad idea because it was going to confuse the kids. Then I said, guys, I really am concerned about having the kids wait outside until 8:50 for the bell to ring. I said, I've never let my daughter do it. It concerns me. I'm not going to do it. I need to put this on the chart. Hey, hang on one second.
left off without my rings today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, so I said that was not safe, and that, was there a safety procedure in place for the kids, until 8:50? The staff said no. And I said, well, what if something happens? How do you get the kids to safety? They said they had no plan in place for something like that.
Until the bell rings.
Until the bell rings. Rain, sleet, or snow, they're out there. Okay? So I said, well, why don't we have someone come, some type of a safety test. This is what I said. And we'll have someone come, stand across the street, and see how long it takes to get the kids to safety. And they said that was a bad idea. Now, I have gone to several other schools and administrators, and they have informed me that such a thing could be done. It's called a readiness emergency management, something like that, that the district has to put in place. So the idea isn't crazy. It's an actual feasible idea that they could do to see. And then the principal, Mr. Howard, informed me, or Mr. Takamoto, they said that it was a contractual issue that the kids couldn't go in prior to 8:50. So I said, well, I'm just not accustomed to that. Never heard of such a thing. So that was that. I said, so Mr. Takamoto, during that meeting, did you hear me say anything about bringing a gun to a school? He said, no way. I didn't hear anything like that. So the officer didn't write up a report. She didn't say, Miss Smith, we're going to write this up, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do that. I said, shouldn't she be arrested or something? She lied to a uniformed police officer. She told you, I'm going to have someone come to the school with a gun. The officer says, oh, no, she didn't say that. What she said was she heard somebody say that. Heard somebody say something like that. I said, that's not what you said. You said she told you I was going to have someone bring a gun to the school, and that was a lie. I said, you can't be a lie. I said, what if you were mad or were having a bad day? I said, when you came up to me and you said, are you the one causing trouble? And I said, excuse me, that could have went the wrong way real fast. I said, so why should she be allowed to get away with saying something like that? I said, I told you, she's been angry ever since I complained about her last year. So I said, she's been glaring at my daughter. She's been rolling her eyes, this mean mugging face at my daughter since last year. I said, what's going to be done about that? So the officer says, I need to take that up with the school. She left. Mr. Takamoto and I reviewed the video. He saw her behavior. He saw her standing at the door, looking to the left. That's the only way you can come in. So I said, she needs to be fired. You can't lie on a parent like that. Is that how they intimidate parents? Is that what they do to get away with? Because I've raised concern over other things. I've raised concern over grade tampering. I've raised concern over some teachers that allow students to make racist statements, not say anything, where other students are consistently picked on for saying things. I've made a number of concerns. So I may not be very well liked, but that's no excuse to take it out on my child. So with her lying to that police officer, with her lying to that staff, I have a right to be angry about those things. So I sent an email complaining. I included her in the email because I wanted her to know I am writing a complaint against you to the district, to the principal, and the necessary people. I'm not sending it to your friends. I'm not sending it to whoever. I'm sending it. This is a complaint. You need to be fired. So the glaring continues, the rolling the eyes, it gets worse. One day my daughter was coming out of her classroom to go to the bathroom. Miss Pruitt and Miss Deloach were there, rolling their eyes at her. She was scared to death. In the cafeteria, when she was getting her honor roll certificate, Miss Pruitt pushed her. She screamed, "Don't touch me!" She thought Miss Pruitt was going to hurt her. She thought Miss Pruitt was going to stab her or cut her or something. And she didn't want this woman to touch her because I wasn't there to help her.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
I just broke your pen. Well, let me, I don't want to get too much into detail on this, but so why would your daughter feel that Miss Pruitt was going to harm her?
When you're consistently, you're a 13-year-old child, You're not accustomed to, the school has fights almost every day. We're not accustomed to that. We're not accustomed to...
The school has fights with...
The school, the students.
McAuliffe?
The students fight almost every day.
Okay.
So we aren't accustomed to that type of violence. We aren't accustomed to staff being allowed to roll their eyes at children. So this frightened her. This is like a person that is a bully, who's bigger than you, who is older than you, who's stronger than you, who could do harm to you, that are rolling their eyes. One day, Miss DeLoach, when I took her lunch, Miss DeLoach, her daughter, first of all, sits in the office every day. One of another...
Who's Miss DeLoach?
Ronnie DeLoach. She's the black lady that helped spread the lie to the police officer. She's a friend of Miss Pruitt's.
She a worker at the school?
Either she works there or she volunteers. She's the black lady that holds the stop sign.
Crossing guard? Okay.
So, her daughter sits in the office every day. And another student said that, who's friends with her and her daughter, says she takes those, when she doesn't show up to class, you get the email or you get the alert or the call or whatever it is. Miss DeLoach goes in the system and she takes that out. And I've been there enough to know that the girl isn't lying. When they had this falling out, they were friends, they had this falling out. She does allow her daughter to sit in the office extensively. So Miss DeLoach was standing outside my daughter's classroom. One day, my daughter, I brought her lunch, but I brought it late because I was working. I was in a conference call or something like that, and I couldn't get it in there on time. So she had maybe 3 minutes to eat before she had to go to her next class. Well, Miss DeLoach made her throw it in the trash. Now, her daughter would sit, if she needed to go in the office and eat her lunch, she would sit there the entire time, take her time and eat her lunch, and not even go to class. Sometimes she sits in there all day. So for her to throw my daughter's stuff in the trash, I knew that there was something she was doing to get at me. And even in the after-school program, the kids were allowed to eat ice cream. Miss DeLoach made my daughter throw hers in the trash. So it's just these things that kids, when they come home to you and they're crying and they're saying, she's looking at me, it's scaring me, I don't want to go to school, it makes me uncomfortable, she's crying. As a parent, what are you supposed to do when your child comes to you full of tears, shaking? Let me tell you also that some black guy, I dropped her off. This was not this week, not last week, but the Friday. Not last week at all. That Friday before last week. I dropped her off. I was in the circle, drop-off pickup lane. And the guy was just standing there. I noticed him just standing there. He wasn't doing anything. Miss Pruitt comes out, and Miss DeLoach comes from the the crossing guard thing. They go over to the guy and point at me and say, there she is right there. The guy comes to my driver car.
You heard them say that?
I heard them say this. Yes. I read their lips. I heard them say this. Pointed at me. Look over here. There she is right there. And pointed at me in my car. My daughter was getting out of the car. This guy comes and stands there and starts doing this, cracking his knuckles. He was taller than my truck, so he had to be about 6'3", 6'4". Big guy, probably 300 pounds. And I drove away. I left my daughter to go in, and I thought, well, surely he's not going to do anything to my child. So I drove away. As I'm driving away, I watched my daughter go into the building, and then I contacted the school and I said, this big black guy, Miss Pruitt and Miss DeLoach sent this guy to my car. And no response, no nothing. So I picked my daughter up early from school, and she hasn't been back. She saw that. Can you imagine how terrified one of your children would be if you have children?
She saw this gentleman walk over.
She saw him walk over to my car. And I'm thinking, what is this? This school is going to allow this woman to hurt me or my child, and they're just going to play crazy. Now, I've gotten letters. Did you address
that with the principal?
I did.
Did you address that with the administration?
I also addressed with the principal that Miss DeLoach and Miss Pruitt and another lady was standing in the parking lot one other day prior to the big black guy with Miss DeLoach had a cell phone in her hand. She was recording me pick my daughter up from school. My daughter saw it. I didn't see it. I turned back around, went back into the parking circle, parked, went in and told Mr. Jordan, who's stalking who? I said, because I'm going to go to another previous time. I was sitting there. Miss Herfel had sent me an email and said my daughter was missing some work. So I said, I remember I worked with my daughter on her work. I remember her doing this work. So I went up to the school, asked my daughter to pull it out. Miss Herfel had already put a stamp on it and graded it. I said, make sure you show this to her. So I sent Miss Herfel an email. I was sitting there sending the email to Miss Herfel. Mr. Jordan comes out and says, Miss Smith, is there something I can help you with? I said, no, I'm fine. This isn't a big deal because I'm at the school all the time. So I'm thinking, I'm fine. I thought, So then
you were in the office.
I was in the office, sitting in the front, not in the, through the door, but just right there in the front. So 5 minutes later, he comes back. He says, Miss Smith, let me talk to you for a minute. So he takes me in the back and he says, I'm creating a hostile work environment. I said, what am I doing? I'm sitting here sending an email. What am I doing? He said, you aren't looking at Miss Pruitt. You aren't doing this. You aren't gesturing or anything like that. I said, I have the truth on my side. I have absolutely no reason to give this woman anything. I don't have to do it because I have the truth on my side. So I said, so it's okay for her to roll her eyes and do this mean mugging and glaring at my daughter. But if I come and sit and send an email, I'm creating a hostile work environment. That's ridiculous. So when the black guy came over,
tell me one more time. What were you there for on that particular day?
I was there
checking a grade or something.
Checking to make sure from Miss Herfel that some work had been received.
Okay.
Yeah, but I this prior to this woman, I was coming every day anyway. Mm-hmm. I was coming every day or every other day to bring lunch, to see how her day is going, to bring her shoes for PE. For some reason, I was up there at the school almost every day. And I don't mind that. I've done that for 20 years. I was PTA president. I was membership chair. I was hospitality chair. I've always been there. I'm always going to be there because I care about my children's education. So when this big black guy comes up to prior to the guy, when they were recording us, I whipped around, went back into the school and told Mr. Jordan, I said, Mr. Jordan, Miss Pruitt and Miss Deloach are out there recording my daughter and I when I picked her up in the parking lot. I said, now, I didn't see it. My daughter saw it. I said, this is the type of school that you're running? This is what you're going to have happen here? No protection for my child. I said, but I'm creating a hostile work environment. So I left because I was very angry. Then was after, not too long after that was when the black guy came. So I picked her up early from school, and she has not, when she's ready to go back, when she feels safe. And I told them, why does this woman get to stay there every day with my daughter, even after my daughter had screamed? Mr. Melandro saw that. He saw that woman. He saw my daughter scream. He may not have seen her push my daughter, but he definitely saw my daughter scream because he said, hey, whoa, hey. But you don't do anything.
Okay, I don't want to get off subject, but I can understand your concerns.
But that's where we are. That's why she's been absent last week and this week.
For my job, I have to tell you the law requires, and you probably heard this before, that the law requires your child to be in school each and every day.
Well, who's going to keep my child safe?
I know. That I'm just having to tell you this part. Okay, the law requires your child to be in school each and every day, and because the child's a minor, you as a parent is responsible for having her there. Saying that, listening to this, the concerns you have over safety, that is a different story now. So but I do have to tell you the law that you're required to bring her to school.
I was bringing her.
These 1 period absences. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
These first period tardies that are cleared every day. How are they being cleared? What are they clearing them for? Under what?
Well, the more recent ones, the more recent first period tardies are because she didn't want to go to school. But I sat there when I first came to the school. Mr. Ivy told me.
Yeah, they shouldn't be clear.
Well,
yeah, those are fun, but I'm looking at all these.
The first period, yeah. In the more recent,
end of March and then April.
That's because my daughter doesn't want to go to school. These if they aren't because of doctor's visits, they are because I have had to sit there, wipe her face, get her eyes clear, and convince her that she's going to be safe, that I'm a phone call away. She thinks, well, what if I can't get to you? You know, and then them having been outside her classroom door when she went to the bathroom.
Well, I mean, well, I guess I need to talk to her.
You're a big guy.
But I mean,
you're not a small guy.
No,
but
I mean, she has teachers, she has
a lot of adults around her.
But that still doesn't stop them from intimidating her. The eye rolling, the mean mugging, the things that they do, that still doesn't stop. And then, okay, let's say this.
But that, you know, a lot of times that's perception too. I mean,
well, a lot of people have received large sums of money for their perception of a situation. So why intimidate a child? Why make her uncomfortable? Her perception is that she thinks that those women are going to hurt her. She thinks...
I don't think they will hurt her.
Well, you don't know that. You're not a 13-year-old child. And you never had a big black guy come to your car cracking his knuckles. You never had these people standing in the parking lot video recording you.
Did you document all this with the police?
I went to the police and filed a restraining order, yes. The judge has given us a court date, but he didn't write an order saying they had to stay away because the judge has to hear what, you know, I'm thinking he's saying, or she, that they have to hear what's really going on before they make a determination, because the school is involved. They're thinking kids are safe at school, and over again, that's being proven that it's not the case. As long as those two women are there. And I'm going to give you another example. Yesterday, there are a couple of teachers there's one teacher I haven't heard from. And there's one teacher who said her paperwork, my daughter's paperwork, because she is doing her classwork, would be at the front office. So yesterday, I went to the front office to pick up her schoolwork, and I left. No sooner than I left, maybe 10 minutes or so later, my daughter calls and says, Mom, the police are at our door. So I called the school, and I said, I just left the school. I said, now, I did leave the school one other time, and the police were at our door. I said, what is going on? Nobody's telling me why the police are coming to our door. But one officer, Officer Gonzalez, says to me, we have a report in our office that you are harassing Miss Pruitt. And I said, how am I harassing her? I said, I have told you that everything that happened. I said, you didn't even write a report. I said, and when I talked to your supervisor, the Lieutenant Zachary or Sergeant Zachary, she said to me, she said, yeah, you're right. She said, I've had problems at my daughter's school as well. Those women sit there and they gossip and they keep up all sorts of mess. And then when you complain, then they want to say you've done all these things. I said, your supervisor told me I was exactly right. Well, my supervisor didn't know that you had sent her an email and harassing her in an email. I said, that wasn't harassment. I sent her an email. I sent her supervisor an email, Dr. Washer, Dr. Don Bedica, Mr. Howard, Mr. Ivy, and the second interim principal at this point. No.
Mr. Jordan.
I don't think I sent her. I don't think that I included Cherie Pruitt in emails that I sent to Mr. because I haven't sent her an email in a long time. Ever since I got that first letter from the school district saying that she hadn't done anything wrong. Lying to a police officer is wrong. So.
Okay. All right. I think I got a pretty good picture for why you're the perception that she's unsafe there, and that you're. But under what auspices are the teachers giving her homework? Are you calling her in ill? I mean, if she's home ill.
I informed the teachers that she is being intimidated and preyed upon.
That's not a legitimate excuse for being out of school.
Okay, well, are you going to walk with my daughter every day?
No, that's not. That's not my job.
My job as a parent is to keep her safe. Right. And if she doesn't feel safe, I'm not going to.
As I said, perception is you know, there have been. We were just at the school to get this, and that's where we're checking. And I asked if there were any documented incidences of any.
I send emails all the time.
But I mean, again, we're talking about eye rolling and glaring and
that's
things of that
intimidation.
nature.
And she pushed my daughter in the cafeteria during the honors program.
Okay, now you filed a complaint that
I filed
a
every
district employee
she
put
was
hands on
no,
your
not the
daughter.
district employee, Miss
Okay.
Pruitt. It's still Miss Pruitt.
Miss
It's
Pruitt,
still
she's
Miss
a
Pruitt and
campus
Miss
supervisor?
Deloach.
Yeah,
She's
a
some
campus-
sort of grounds person.
Yeah,
Security,
she's a campus
that we have
security.
campus
so
security.
she is a district
And she's
personnel.
a different.
Okay,
She's
well-
a classified employee.
Yes.
Okay,
CSE
well-
employee.
She's not going. She shouldn't be allowed to make my daughter feel uncomfortable. So
Okay, so with that being said, unless we have something substantial because for California Education Code, there's only specific things that can be excused. And by your requesting work for her, if she is bona fidely ill or
well, I do
excused-
have a doctor's note.
Okay.
You want to see it? Or
You know
no?
what? No, I'd love to. If we had a doctor's note, then
Yeah,
we could
then we
put
could.
her on medical home instruction, and we could have an instructor come here on a regular basis. Now, if that would suffice for you feeling that she's
What it's
safe,
doing is just protecting Miss Pruitt. She's done a lot of wrong. She's told a lot of lies, and it
Okay.
essentially is protecting the district
Okay,
because
well, we're
at
just
the point that
talking-
it
we're
gets
just
to a
talking-
lawsuit,
We have
I
to
do
do-
understand
Yeah,
that.
we're just talking about
I do
her
understand that,
Okay.
but the
That's a separate
priority
issue.
should be.
Yeah.
It's not a separate issue. This is the same child. She's afraid to come
Mm-hmm.
to school, and you guys aren't protecting her. You guys are protecting the staffer,
Now,
the
when you
district
say-
employee.
Okay, now when you say you guys,
You guys
who
are
you?
district employees. You're protecting a district employee. You just said that.
We are here
No,
for
well,
the
we never
students'
said that we're
concern
protecting a
about not
district
being in school.
employee.
She's
That's
not
why
in
we
school
asked
because
that.
she's being terrorized in her eyes.
Okay, well,
in
let
her
me
13-year-old mind.
clarify
No,
one
we
thing.
can
Hold.
clear it.
Let me clarify one thing since we're on recording. I never uttered that word that you just said, nor did I hear Miss Calderon say that we are protecting. We advise you that she was a district employee. That's clear. She is CSEA. She's a campus security, I believe her position is. We came to talk about this. You are the one that chose to go into the background, which
Which is
Right.
explaining why she's got this.
But what I'm concerned about is
So, my daughter going crazy, my daughter going mentally crazy, socially recluse because of this woman and your school district. That's the welfare of the child. This woman is making my daughter scared. My daughter is afraid.
And that's why
Several
we're here.
things. No, you're here because of the absences. You don't want to hear that Miss Pruitt, your district employee,
I think we just let
is
you explain
causing-
that quite clearly.
Well,
so we're hearing
you
it.
didn't kind of
Again, a perception that we're not is,
Okay.
and I take
We
exception
cannot
to
make
that.
comment.
Yeah.
We cannot make comment on that.
Okay.
We're,
Let me
we're
just
trying
go
to
get the
take care of
doctor.
the
Yeah.
student.
Yeah, because I'm concerned
taking
about.
care of the student would be
I'm
getting
concerned
rid of
about-
Miss Pruitt.
I'm concerned about the first period absences because that's the.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, hello.
Oh,
pretty baby.
He's very low.
Friendly guy
I love
too.
these
He's very low. All right, come on.
No.
Come on.
I love German.
Oh, come
Because, yeah,
Yeah.
I want to ask her regarding this.
Yeah, but they're clearing.
Yeah, I don't know how those are getting cleared.
I don't either. We need to go talk to
If they have
Jennifer.
appointments, that's one
Yes,
thing.
yes.
But
No notice.
that is the part of the thing is that I think the initial thing she referred to back here,
And she's up to 15 days. In
that there was an email or something sent, and I'm going to ask her about. There was an email sent from the campus security to the first period teacher saying that mom is dropping her off. She doesn't ride the bus. That's what I want to clarify because if mom is dropping her off late every day, those
Yeah.
shouldn't be clear.
Exactly.
Those are legitimate for a campus security to legitimately report
Show,
to the
yes.
office.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'll have to. Yeah,
And I think when their medical appointment, she does, Jennifer puts
Right.
medical. But these late clears,
yeah, and I'm thinking if they're just late clearing because mom is coming in and saying she was ill, then they need to clear them as ill. What's that say?
that says medical,
Uh,
906, but these are just late clear.
Yeah, we'll have to find out what those are.
Yeah. Maybe they have notes at the office. And this is medical illness called in. Yeah, but she is up to her 15.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and talk with Mr. Jordan. I have to find out from Mom what, if she's concerned about the safety. I understand the concern about the safety, but I mean, there's quite a few adults at the school that are able to provide that security. So, we need to look into those first period absences.
Yep. And if the doctor's taking her out, then you can take care of the absence that are already unexcused.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, since appears to be the attendance here appears to be related to the ongoing concern that Mom has, either perceived or legitimate, or wherever they're going with it. I think the medical would be a good.
All right, I'm back.
Good way to market. Good way to market.
Yeah.
This is from her visit to the emergency room, and they excused her from any physical activity through May 2nd. That was this past Friday.
Right. So this would be, let's say, excused from any physical activity. Okay, such as PE.
I took her to the doctor on the 30th.
Okay.
For that.
So, and I guess when I thought you when I thought you said she had a medical note, I thought that you had something that said she should not attend school.
Well, we're going to go back to the doctor.
Okay.
We're going to make sure that we record the concerns that she has with a doctor, so that the doctor can identify her mental state at that time.
Because if you can get either a physician's note or a psychiatrist or a psychologist note that says that she is in a position that they feel professionally that she would be better served at home for the remainder of the year, regardless of the legal thing I'm hearing that you are in the process of doing or going to do. That would address the attendance issue, which we're here primarily for. Because if she has a medical, what we can do is we can assign a home instructor to come in. And we have hundreds of students in the district that either temporary, for maybe a temporary illness, a temporary condition from surgery or something, and some that go the entire year for long-term illness. So it is an already established program, and you have the right to do that if we have a.
Well, she wants to go to school, but she's just terrified.
Okay.
Every time she thinks about it. And her friends miss her. She misses her friends. She misses some of her teachers.
Let me ask you a question on this, just because I noticed that I remember that you said that part of the situation way back when, I don't know if it was this year or last year, the memo was sent to the teacher from the campus security. Was that this year?
That was last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's been angry since last year.
Okay. So all these first period. Okay, there's no problem with these. This is the way it should be. Illness.
Right.
That you call in or you bring her in and go in and write a note or something. These late clears, do you know what these were for? February 10th, 11th, 18th, 20, 20. It looks like it's a daily.
Like I said, the earlier ones, like I told you before, if she says, well, according to Mr. Ivy, they don't allow the students to go to class if they come in and they're upset and they're not feeling well or things of that nature. So she's sitting in the car with me saying, oh, Mom, there's Miss Pruitt. I don't want to go in. This woman, it makes me uncomfortable. It scares me. And I'm sitting there trying to convince her to go in. That's what that is. When we're sitting there and I have to convince her to go in.
So when you go in, when she finally goes in, you go to the office to give her a pass, or did you take her to Mr. Ivy, who then?
No, I call the front desk and I say she's coming in. Now, some mornings she is actually not feeling well because she does have allergies. So if she's not feeling well, I will call in and say she's not feeling well. She's on her way in. Because
this does look like she is arriving to school daily late.
Well, it may look like that, but that's not the case.
Again, that's a perception. That's
your perception, and mine is different.
33 days
of first period target.
Right.
Now, like I said,
does she have something with her first period teacher?
No, he's great. Okay. She's actually a cellist. She plays the cello, and she's in the 8th grade class, even though she's 7th grade.
Is this for music?
It's for music, orchestra.
Orchestra.
So she's really good.
She plays an instrument?
She does play an instrument.
wow.
Well, my son, the one who has the full scholarship to college in Oklahoma, plays the violin. My other son, with the full academic scholarship in Atlanta, plays the saxophone, the alto sax. And he's trilingual, Japanese, English, and Spanish.
Oh my gosh.
My other son, he decided not to speak a second language, but he's the violinist and he wrestles. So
then back to these, just for a second, these illnesses, no problem. Late clear, that's where I have...
The late clears is when we're coming in late, because some of them are because she sees Miss Pruitt and doesn't want to come in. Some of them are because her allergies are acting up, or she's not feeling well and she just doesn't want to come in.
You bring her in?
I bring every time.
Okay, and you tell the office?
I tell the office her allergies are acting up. She's not feeling well. She's on her way in.
Okay.
So, and that's not against the rules. As long as I call in and say what her situation is, it should be excused, because if she's sick, instead of letting her stay home, if her allergies are acting up.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that as long as it is coded as ill. But like when you see these late clear, unless they...
That's because it's right. That's because when she comes in, a lot of times it's between 8:50 and 9 o'clock, maybe 9:05 at the most. I'm not certain about the time. See, look at these times. These late. Let's see. I'm sorry.
It says tardy less than 30 minutes. So that's just a general. Because if it's tardy more than 30 minutes, then it goes to an absence, and
then it's a truant.
Right.
Oh, so you're called. So in those 33, I saw you counting these as a part of that. So that's neither here nor there. That's not late clear. You only counted the late clear.
Yeah, I only called it the late clear.
Okay. Yeah. That is when I was trying to look for the time.
You have medical, and then she has medical, and then they would
and that's fine. Like if she woke up with a headache and not feeling well or whatever,
right?
And then she
has allergies and she's become a young lady. So I'm not going to send her in. After speaking with Mr. Ivy, he told me they would rather have the kids come in so that they can talk to them. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like class instruction time should be wasted in the office. You're trying to tell a man what your problem is. Mm-hmm. You can talk to your mother. Would you guys like to meet my daughter?
Oh, I didn't know she was here. Yes,
she's here.
Yes, I'd love to.
McKeely, come here, sweetie.
So she has 7. I'm sorry, dear. I didn't know if you were here. I didn't want to ignore you.
Hi.
Talking about you, I'd like to meet you. Hi, I'm Bill Toledo. Hi, Kitty. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. We're just here looking at your attendance because you've been out quite a few days, so we wanted to, find out from your mom why you were out, and she's got quite a history. But what I'm mainly concerned about is that these absences here. If you've been taking her to the doctor, or if she's not been feeling well.
I'm listening.
What I would do is you could call in, because you have up to 10 days to clear absences. So, like these absences here, the 28th, so, I don't know, where do I have the 28th, what's 10 days from the 28th, 10 school days? 28, let me get back, of course, okay. The 28th of April. The 28th of April was that first one, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you can call on these as illnesses before, whatever you constitute as an illness, you call and you can have these changed from absence to illness, because after 10 days, they automatically go to unexcused, and then they can't be changed. Okay. So but we still, because of these, since they're listed as absence, once you get 3 of them, that initiates Child Welfare and Attendance to send out a truancy letter, and as it becomes more prevalent, then we do this. We make home visits. Mm-hmm. You're special, but we're not visiting because you're that special. We're visiting all the people that are, out. So,
I was telling them that you were home because Did you want to tell them? Do you want to share?
Because Miss Pruitt she scares me sometimes.
So that's creating you to feel nauseous or sick or headache or whatever, so you're staying home?
I mean, it's unfair because the police officers are on her side, though, and they're not on mine. So how am I supposed to go up to the school and be safe when nobody's on my side? Only thing I got is my friends. And I can't